Okay, so we're looking at number systems here. I want to introduce you guys into something called a complex number system, right? Okay, so when dealing with the complex number system, what we want to look at, well, first let's cover the real number system here. The real number system includes your numbers like your rational numbers. They include your decimals, which are, of course, these decimals are rational. Your repeating decimals, which are rational. They include your irrational numbers, so like the square root of 2, pi, the square root of 7, numbers like these that can't be expressed in a ratio form. Okay, these are all your real numbers here. Your complex numbers is when we have things like I, 3i, minus 5i, square root of a negative 7. These will be our complex numbers, okay? And now, complex numbers are written in the form of this, a plus bi, right? Well, let me rewrite that in some different colors here. They're written in this form here. A plus bi, okay? This whole thing here is what we call the imaginary part. Okay? And this thing here is what we call the real part. Okay? So, A stands a real number. B is also a real number, but is multiplied times I, which is an imaginary. So we call this entire number imaginary, the imaginary part, you know. Okay, so let's take a look at some stuff here. It says real numbers are complex numbers where B is equal to 0. And imaginary numbers are complex numbers where A is equal to 0 and B not equal to 0. These are sometimes called pure imaginary numbers. Okay, so let's talk about exactly what that means here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some stuff here. If we have this here, A plus bi, correct? We know that this is the formal complex standard form, okay? So if I have 5 minus 4i, is this written in complex form? Yes, it is. Now, if I have, let's say, let me see something here. If I say I have 4i plus 2, is this written in A plus bi? Well, no, it's not. These two numbers here need to trade places in order for me to be in actual complex form, like this is here. This is in complex form. Because what complex form says is that your real number comes first and then your imaginary number, okay? So we want to always remember that when we're putting stuff into complex form here. Give me 1 second. Let me try to take this part out here. Okay, we're having a little technical difficulties. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this here. If we say, let's see here, we're having some difficulty. Okay, if we say this is a, which of the following is a complex number, and we have A, which is equal to 4 plus square root of 3, and we have B, which is equal to 4 minus square root 4, and we have C, which is, let's say, 4 plus 7i squared, and we have D, which is 4 plus I. Okay, this is, so we have A, which is 4 plus square root 3. We have B, which is 4 minus square root 4. We have C, which is 4 plus 7i squared, and we have D, which is 4 plus I. Which one of these following is are complex numbers? Well, we already know that this is not a complex number, so we can cross out A. B is not a complex number because, you know, you don't see any imaginary numbers here. So imaginary number, we don't see, do we? So it's missing. It's missing the part that actually makes it complex. So this will be a real number. This is the same thing that applies. It's missing that imaginary part. Okay, so now this here, I don't want you to get, so B is out. Now here, I don't want you to get confused with this here, because if we take a look at this, 4 plus 7i squared, this is actually a real number as well. It's not a complex number, because watch what happens. Let's go over here. Watch what happens if I take 4 plus 7i squared. What did we say I squared was? -1. So 4 minus 7, right? When we multiply these, we get 4 minus 7, which will give me a -3. So this will not be a complex number. This will be a real number. So that means we rule out C. And all we have left is D, which is 4 plus I, which is indeed a complex number.